You wake to a morning that feels heavy before the sun even reaches the horizon. Your body is still in the familiar embrace of sheets, soft and warm, yet your mind hums with fatigue. You wonder why, after a night of rest, you feel as if you've run a marathon in your dreams. The first thing to understand is that tiredness is not always physical. The mind, the very place you inhabit most of the time, carries its own weight. And sometimes, that weight feels invisible, even when you've done nothing at all. There is a quiet science to mental exhaustion. Psychologists call it cognitive load, the invisible tally of thoughts, worries, and decisions your brain navigates each day. Even in moments of stillness, your mind is active, attending to patterns, predicting outcomes, reliving yesterday, rehearsing tomorrow. Imagine each thought as a small pebble placed gently on a table. 1 pebble is harmless. 10 pebbles, still manageable. But as the pebbles accumulate, your mind feels their weight, pressing softly, persistently, until the surface seems to sag beneath them. And sometimes, you don't notice until your body mirrors the heaviness. The shoulders slump. The eyes feel thick. The breath is shallow. You are carrying more than you realize, and yet, the world whispers, "Why are you tired? You haven't moved." In the stillness of doing nothing, your emotions can amplify. The human brain has evolved to scan for threats, to anticipate and prepare, even when there's no immediate danger. Your nervous system does not distinguish between the stress of walking into a meeting or the stress of replaying a painful memory. Both trigger a physiological response. Cortisol pulses, heart rate adjusts, and muscles tighten. The body, responding as if you are in a battlefield, does not recognize inactivity as relief. So when you sit quietly scrolling, thinking, or staring into space, your nervous system might still be in overdrive, and fatigue sets in as a natural response. It is not laziness. It is survival. It is biology whispering, "I am here and I have been busy." And so, the mind dances between past and future, rarely resting. You might think about a conversation that did not go as planned, a decision you wish you had made differently, or a fear of an event that hasn't even happened yet. Psychologists call this rumination, a mental habit that can anchor your energy, keeping it tethered to unresolved emotion. Each loop of thought is subtle but persistent, pulling a thread through your awareness, until it feels as if even doing nothing has cost you everything. You wonder if everyone feels this, if your tiredness is proof of weakness. And here, science offers comfort. The mind cannot fully rest while unresolved emotional energy remains. This is why the act of reflection, of gentle processing, is as vital as sleep itself. Imagine the mind as a river. When calm, water flows smoothly, light glinting on ripples, carrying leaves with ease. But when heavy with sediment, anxiety, fear, expectation, the current thickens. You might sit on its bank and believe it to be stagnant, yet under the surface, everything moves. Your brain's default mode network, a neural space where memory, thought, and imagination converge, is alive. It weaves the past into the present, anticipates the future, and interprets every passing sensation. This internal activity, though invisible, is taxing. Even when your body rests, your mind is swimming upstream. You might notice your body tenses during the day, muscles stiffening in ways you cannot consciously feel. Your posture betrays the strain. Rounded shoulders, shallow chest, tight jaw. These physical manifestations of stress and cognitive load are the body's language of fatigue. Psychologists remind us that somatic awareness, paying attention to these subtle signs, is a bridge to self-care. By noticing where your body holds tension, you can begin to release it, and in doing so, honor the invisible labor your mind is performing. Each sigh, each stretch, each slow inhalation is a small acknowledgement of this truth. There is also the emotional landscape to consider. Feelings of guilt for resting or taking a break can deepen exhaustion. You are living in a culture that equates productivity with worth. And yet, emotional well-being cannot be measured solely by output. Studies in positive psychology suggest that true energy comes from alignment with your internal state, accepting what is, rather than resisting it. Fatigue may be signaling that your mind needs recalibration, that your nervous system needs a pause, that your emotions need acknowledgement. This is not a failure. It is a call to self-compassion. When the mind whispers in tiredness, listen without judgment. Ask gently, what am I carrying that is unseen? What do I need that I have not given myself? And so, in this quiet, you might notice the flicker of your thoughts. Memories, fears, aspirations, fragments of conversations. Each one carries its own charge. Here lies the paradox. Even in inactivity, the mind is tirelessly active. Your energy dips, your body feels heavy. But this is the sign of your mind's constant engagement with life, with yourself. Psychologists refer to this as mental fatigue, and it is not something to shame but to understand. By naming it, by seeing it as natural, you create space for gentle self-awareness. Consider the gentle practice of grounding. A moment of noticing your breath, of observing the rise and fall of your chest, can anchor you. Sensory awareness, feeling the texture of a blanket, listening to the subtle sounds of a room, observing the light as it shifts, can slow the river of thought, allowing sediment to settle. Neuroscience tells us that such mindful presence engages the parasympathetic nervous system, signaling rest and repair. You are, in essence, telling your body and mind, it is safe to pause. And in that pause, fatigue begins to soften, like sunlight melting frost. Fatigue also has a social dimension. Humans are wired for connection, and isolation, even when subtle, can drain energy. Loneliness, unexpressed emotions, or the quiet ache of not being fully understood all tax the brain. Oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin, the chemicals that modulate mood and reward, respond to social interaction. When these are absent, the mind can feel heavy. And so, tiredness may reflect more than the sum of your thoughts. It is a signpost pointing toward unacknowledged needs: belonging, compassion, recognition, or simply a listening ear. In attending to these needs, you replenish not only energy but emotional resilience. And yet, in understanding this, there is hope. Science tells us that our brains are plastic, flexible, and capable of learning new patterns. You can cultivate self-awareness, observing fatigue without judgment, asking what it signifies. Journaling, gentle reflection, mindful movement, deep breathing. These practices are not just remedies, they are invitations. Invitations to enter a dialogue with yourself, to recognize that doing nothing is sometimes doing everything your mind and body need. You may begin to notice patterns. The tasks that drain you without physical effort, the conversations that linger longer in thought than in reality, the worries that attach themselves like shadows. These patterns are not faults. They are information. They are a map of your inner landscape. With curiosity, you explore the terrain, discovering the hidden stressors and unmet needs that anchor your tiredness. You learn to release gently, like letting water flow through your fingers, understanding that rest is not laziness, and stillness is not stagnation. And there are layers still. Cultural messages, childhood conditioning, expectations, and personal narratives all weave into the experience of fatigue. Psychologists call this psychosocial load. Your mind carries not only your thoughts but the echoes of voices that told you to push harder, to ignore discomfort, to always be productive. Recognizing this load can be transformative. It invites empathy for yourself, for the way you were taught to operate in the world, and for the silent weight you have carried for years. This awareness is restorative. It allows fatigue to shift from a symptom of deficiency to a messenger of self-understanding. In the quiet moments when you feel the heaviness of doing nothing, you can imagine a garden within. Each thought, each memory, each emotion is a seed. Some seeds have been nourished too heavily: worry, guilt, fear, creating dense foliage that blocks sunlight. Others have been neglected: joy, curiosity, compassion, and remain dormant, waiting for attention. Fatigue is the gardener's signal. It says tenderly, look at the soil. Notice what has been sown. Water the roots of yourself that have gone untended. In responding, you are not correcting. You are nurturing. You are meeting your mind with kindness and curiosity, rather than judgment or frustration. And so, the science of fatigue becomes a story of connection. Between mind and body, between self and society, between past and present. It teaches you that rest is not passive but active in its awareness. That doing nothing can be a profound engagement with life, if approached with intention. That tiredness is a language, one that asks for observation, compassion, and curiosity. The body and mind are not adversaries to be disciplined but companions to be understood. Fatigue is a whisper, a message from the deep work of consciousness, reminding you that energy is not merely measured in motion, but in attention, understanding, and presence. You may find in time that the heaviness eases not because you have done more, but because you have learned to listen. You learn to notice your body's signals, your mind's restlessness, your emotions' subtle currents. You realize that fatigue is a dialogue, not a verdict, and that the act of acknowledging it is itself a form of energy, a quiet resilience. In this awareness, rest becomes a practice of self-love, reflection, and gentle care. You are no longer burdened by doing nothing. You are practicing the art of being, fully present, fully human. And perhaps the most tender truth is this: the mind that feels heavy is the mind that has been alive, attentive, engaged. The heart that aches with unspoken thoughts is a heart that has loved, remembered, and imagined. The body that sags is a body that has carried experience, emotion, and wonder. In this perspective, fatigue transforms from a mark of weakness into a symbol of depth, a reminder of your capacity to feel, to endure, and to awaken. You are not failing by feeling tired. You are living. You are learning. You are in dialogue with the intricate, beautiful complexity of being human. So, when the world asks why you feel tired even when you do nothing, the answer is not simple. You are tired because you are alive. You are navigating a labyrinth of thought, memory, and emotion that moves even in stillness. You are bearing the invisible weight of cognition, culture, and connection. And in recognizing this, in giving yourself space to witness, to breathe, to simply be, you find not only rest but clarity, not only relief but insight. You are invited to watch the river of your mind, to notice the currents, to dip your hands into the flowing water, and to understand that stillness is a sanctuary, not a surrender. You close your eyes and let your shoulders soften. You listen to the subtle rhythm of your breath. You acknowledge the pebbles, the currents, the hidden weights. You whisper to yourself, gently, "It's okay to rest. It's okay to feel. It's okay to be." And in that act of self-compassion, the mind begins to exhale. The body relaxes. The world remains, but you are held in the quiet sanctuary of your own awareness, understanding that even in doing nothing, you are everything.